So I got some movies that are in a box set of adventure films that I actually was really enjoying, and it got to one that just kind of blew my mind. So we got to talk about it. It's a new set from Imprint. Let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review and kind of order of my favorites from best to last. Or, yeah, I think we'll do it that way. And then we're going to tell you all about the extras, what's on the features, and all that stuff about this box set that I think you might want to check out. This is a set that was sent to me by Imprint. It is Tales of Adventure, Collection Number 8. The Jules Verne edition, which is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Master of the World, Valley of the Dragons, getting its first time on Blu-ray, War Gods of the Deep, Jules Verne's Rocket to the Moon, and The Light at the Edge of the World. The light. But yes, this is a great box set that I got to delve into. And box sets are a little bit different when I do reviews because it's kind of like an overall feeling. It's kind of an adventure in itself, just going through them and kind of learning about it and finding out about all this stuff. So I'm going to include some trivia and things with this, and I hope you'll enjoy it. It is one of those things that I have done 3 times now, and somehow the sound didn't work, so I have to re-record it again. So I hope you understand. I'm just going to do this in one take because there is no way I'm going to go through this and edit it like after spending hours of recording this. So I hope you understand. All of this is going to be au naturel, but trust me, everything I say, I know what I'm saying now because I practice it multiple times. By the way, I'll put links down below for if you want to get a copy for yourself. But let's start from the first film in the set. First up, we got 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from 1916. That's right, this is a black and white silent film that was a remaking of the movie or the story, the tale of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is essentially based on Jules Verne's novel, and it actually follows a sea monster. It's a group of people are out to try to figure out what's going on with this sea monster that's terrorizing shipping, and they find out that it's actually a submarine, like a super amazing, like nobody knew about it, submarine by the name of Captain Nemo, who is captaining this ship. The ship is actually called the Nautilus. He's got like this ulterior motive going on, and they basically get on the ship, and there's a bunch of crazy things that happen in the film that, since it's a silent film, it's not going to have any like words or anything. It's just going to have words on the screen and a score. It's the orchestral score, by the way, of Orlando Perez Rosso. So this is a new 4K treatment that they did from the original 35mm nitrate by Universal. And it has audio commentary by film historian Anthony Slide. And it's in 2.0 stereo with aspect ratio 1:33:1. Now, this looks really good for, what it is. It's an older film like this. They never look perfect, but this one is really good. And it's not a film that I think a lot of modern people are going to really truly grasp, but I encourage you to kind of go out of your, comfort zone a little bit and check it out because there is some really cool stuff in here. And it's really amazing what they did for the technology and everything back then in 1916 with film. So you have to respect it for that. And here it is on Blu-ray for you to collect for yourself in this amazing Verne set. All right, up next, we got Master of the World. I like how his arms are out. It's like, Anyway, this is a flying movie. This is essentially about a group of guys who are into building machines that fly. They are kind of like specialists in this, and they think they're like the best at what they do until one day a town gets a voice over the loudspeaker of something, and they're like, wait a second, is that God? No, it's this giant ship piloted by Vincent Price, and they didn't know what it was, so they take their balloon ship that they think is the most advanced on Earth, and they fly it over this mountain, and they find out in the crater sits this ship, and it shoots them down and takes them captive. And Charles Bronson, who's like this federal agent who works with the aviation or something like that, he's like some branch in the government. He teams up with these two pilot guys who have designed all these different things, and the guy's wife, and they go on this trip with this guy, and Vincent Price is trying to hold the world hostage by going over cities and saying, give me all your weapons of mass destruction of any kind of, and we'll call it quits, and then we can bring peace to the world. And he's doing this all around the world. This thing can travel at like 150, 250 miles per hour around the world. So it's going pretty fast. And he is basically kind of crazy. He's like, that moral ambiguity that's going on where it's like, well, he's trying to make peace by, bombing people. So, it's one of those things where it kind of blurs the line a little bit and has that moral discussion. Charles Bronson is like young in this movie. And it's got a really funny kind of like love story in it because one of the guys is married, the pilots, and Charles Bronson is kind of moving in on the territory. Apparently the writer of this movie was going through some troubles with his life, and he wrote that in there. So, but yeah, I enjoyed this. Here's some of the extras on it. You can pause to read that. Got to check out some of those. Also, here is some of the extras. There's not much on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's really just an audio commentary by Anthony Slide. Up next, we got Valley of the Dragons, which this is the first time it's actually been on Blu-ray, and I'll show you the extras here on the back. It doesn't really have any because there's something that happened with this film, and they somehow managed to get a print of this, and I'm not really sure because it says here that they got a 1080p presentation on Blu-ray. It doesn't say what the print is from, but it is in 2.0 mono, black and white film. But this one's it's from 1961. It's about this group of guys in Algeria who are fighting, literally with guns. They're about to duel each other. They're pacing, and then they go to point at each other, and this comet picks them up and takes them on an adventure to the moon, where they find dragons and a whole bunch of like civilizations that are like cavemen people. And they don't really speak very good. They're not very knowledgeable. They're still just creating fire for the first time. And they end up becoming friends and teaming up and try to basically, stop all these warring factions. There's like 3 different civilizations that don't get along, and 2 that get along, but 1 that doesn't. And then they kind of team up as friends, find wives, and end up having a good time on the moon. But yeah, it's chock full of monsters. It was supposed to be a monster picture, but really it's just a bunch of lizards like crawling around on the land, which is kind of fun. I enjoyed this. It's it's an interesting one to have on Blu-ray though for the first time. Up next, we got War Gods of the Deep, which is another Vincent Price movie with Tab Hunter, Susan Hart, and David Tomlinson, who carries a chicken around and has this character named Harold Tiffin Jones. That's him right there. And he's really just the comic relief in the movie. And it's essentially about this group of people who, off the coast of Cornwall, if that helps you, a group discovers a secret undersea city where a band of smugglers and mortals have been living for a century thanks to some peculiar gas mixture environmental anomaly, like a volcano or something. And they steal this woman up from the surface because it reminds Vincent Price of his wife. And so then everybody goes down and he tells them they can't escape, and then they escape. And there's like sea people that are down there. You can kind of see on the front here. And War of the Gods. But yeah, it's a pretty cool movie. I enjoyed it. It's a little bit more of what you would expect. Obviously Vincent Price is pretty good in it, but everybody does a really good job. I really like David Tomlinson's performance. He's just a lot of fun. But this is by director Jack Tourneur, who did Cat People and Out of the Past. He was a famous legendary sort of fantasy director, horror fantasy. I like this one. It wasn't like the most profound thing I've ever seen, but I did enjoy it. Up next, we got another one, and this one's just flat out comedy, whereas the last one had a little bit of comedy with a little bit of seriousness in it. This one has Burl Ives, Troy Donahue, Gert Frobe, Hermione Gingold, Lionel Jeffries, and Dennis Price, and it's Jules Verne's Rocket to the Moon, or those fabulous Flying Fools. I think that's the other title that they call it. But it's essentially a story about a bunch of, like, another group of scientists. There's always scientists, you know, because they're trying to discover the world. Jules Verne wanted to discover the whole world and found wonder in just about all of it. But it's like a Victorian age where they're kind of discovering how to get off the planet, and they want to be the first ones to the moon over everybody else. It's a sort of race to the moon, and it's got that kind of tone of the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. You know, that movie where they all like race to go to this like spot where this like hidden treasure is, and everybody starts hearing about it, and it becomes this like big race. Well, it's kind of got that same sort of humor in it, and some of the actors that are in it you'll recognize. Like there's the guy from Herbie Goes Bananas in it. He was in a lot of Herbie movies, actually. He's in this, and a ton of other people. Burl Ives, obviously, from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He's the snowman. You know, he's done a ton of other stuff, obviously, but that's just one I remember. But yeah, they try to build a rocket. People from around the world join in on it. Burl Ives is kind of the ringleader of it, and two other guys try to add to it, but they're not really good at it. So they like kind of kick him out. And so then they try to sabotage their experiment to get to the moon. And one guy has a better plan than the other guy, and so he's bitter over it. And they try to stop it. There's a lot of different characters, a lot of wacky stuff that's going on in this movie. They have some new technology. You know, it's supposed to be Victorian era, so there's gas in the houses that they use for lights and stuff like that. And there's a gas-powered car, and a woman who's getting married and leaves for this guy who has a balloon, and then she wants to marry both of them. It's a wild story, but I actually really enjoyed this one. A lot of people did not like this movie when it came out. I don't know why. I honestly thought it was kind of fun, but a lot of people scored this one pretty low. I actually thought it was a pretty good addition to this set. So, I don't know. I think it's worth checking out. Here's the extras, by the way. All right. And then last but not least, this is the one that really kind of blew me away. And this is the Kirk Douglas, Yul Brynner, Samantha Eggar movie called The Light at the Edge of the World. Jules Verne's. Now, Jules Verne's kind of based this off another story. It was an Argentinian story. It's The Lighthouse at the Edge of the World. At the End of the World, which is the novel, which is by Jules Verne. And then he took it from some Argentinian story that I remember. But yeah, anyway, it's essentially a thriller. People didn't know what to call it, actually. There was a lot of people that thought it was an adventure film, a thriller film, but it was just not like these other films that I've been talking about. It is in some degree, but it is a very different film. It was actually a story that was posthumously published as one of Verne's novels, and then Kirk Douglas also wanted to produce this movie as well. This one really surprised me, guys. Like, I'm not joking. This one's essentially about a lighthouse keeper who has a captain of a ship who is living there with his sidekick. It's like an assistant named Felipe, and they take care of this lighthouse. And one day some bandits show up, or, you know, pirates essentially, and they kill off some people. And then Kirk Douglas is just kind of like wandering the island trying to get away and survive from these guys, starving, not having food. And it's about his like survival on this thing. Other ships come and they try to smash him into the rocks so that they can take all their goods and stuff, and then, you know, collect it on this island. It's become like a pirate island, and Kirk Douglas saves a couple people, and then they try to like attack. This was some violent stuff, though. I was not expecting this to be as edgy and as violent as it was, and it is very underrated. I enjoyed it Like, I could literally watch this again if I were to dig into this set. It would be the first one I watch. This is probably my favorite one in the box set. And I like the other ones too, but this one just is something different. At the time when people didn't know what to think of it, I think it's an underrated film because of that. It had a weird scattered release that the American version had like 10 to 30 minutes cut out of it. Some of it is really violent and dark, and they have it all here. So blown away by this whole thing because it was just so different from everything in the box set. And I really just, man, it was very thrilling. So if you get a chance, watch this movie however you can. But here's some of the extras on it. Genuinely, really just a good movie in general. And I think a lot of people should see it. It's just one of those things. Sometimes a movie will come out at the time and people are expecting one thing and they get another, and it just kind of like ruins it for them, and they don't really know what to expect, you know? So they have these perceived expectations. So first of all, this is my best pick out of the set. I would probably go with this one next, just because, I don't know, I love the It's a Mad World. I'm sure some people are gonna be like, what? Master of the World, very different story. The, you know, people in it are really good, and I like the messaging in it, and I also kind of like the performances. I also like how they wrote the relationship in this, which is just so different. Also, I would go with War Gods of the Deep. After that, I thought it was really cool that there's also creatures in this one that I thought was really good. Then we're gonna have to go with Valley of the Dragons, yeah, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, them kind of teaming up made it a really fun movie, and they kind of all work together, and it's like the societies all start to work together. And then last but not least, I definitely like this movie, but you know, it is just one of those things that it's a 1916 silent film, and while I like it, it's a little bit harder for modern audiences to really kind of swallow this thing. But I still admire it, just like I do other films that have grown to be, you know, kind of like outdated a little bit, like Blair Witch even. You know, I like the movie. I just don't think it's as effective to me anymore. But, you know, this is still pretty cool to watch and see what they did back in that time. But that's my order. I would love to see what your order is too. So if you guys want to tell me about it, I would love to hear it in the comment section down below. Have you seen any of these movies? Have you watched any of them? I know some of you from the last video when I unboxed this and did my mail video went out and ordered this, so kudos to you. I'd love to hear what you think if you got it yet. I know it took about 10 days, so maybe you're waiting on it still to get it. Yeah, I really like this set. It was a nice kind of journey, a nice adventure, if you will, to go through this whole set and check out each one of these films. And I got another one of their box sets that I'm going to be going through too. I'll be doing that out of home, actually, a different place. So you'll be seeing a different setting here. I really appreciate you guys. Let me know your thoughts about these movies in the comment section down below. Thank you, Imprint, for sending this out to me. I really greatly appreciate you letting me review these movies and share them with my audience. But yeah, we got more on the way from Imprint. I got a lot of other stuff, some horror stuff that we're going to be talking about, and so much more. So be on the lookout. Thank you for coming by, and as always, long live the void.